So when I was at school, I had a job in a supermarket, and I was one of those lovely checkout people that you go and visit at the supermarket. Now, when you walked into this supermarket, what you found were very happy, smiling, engaging people who welcomed their customers in to the store. What you didn't see, however, was what was happening behind the scenes to create those happy, smiling faces. Because actually in the lunchroom, the people who were happy, smiling in front of all these customers were actually miserable. They were complaining about the business, they were complaining about their boss. Because the woman who actually ran the checkout, she ran it with an iron fist. It was her way or the highway. She spoke to them in a way that didn't engage them. If they didn't do exactly what she said, smile, greet the customers the way she wanted them to be greeted, she threatened that she would reduce their hours. This is what was happening behind the scenes to create this smiling, happy, lovely environment that people were seeing on the outside. Now the thing is, she wasn't encouraging them. She wasn't leading them. What she actually was doing was disengaging them, because the turnover in that store was actually quite high. But the customer didn't see that, funnily enough. Recent survey by Gallup, and they looked at the worldwide stats in workforce, and it shows that 85% of the worldwide workforce is currently disengaged. 85%. This is a lot of very unhappy people who are not giving very much to your business. Now, this is an interesting conversation to have. However, for me, the more interesting conversation to have is why is this actually happening? And why, after many, many years of having these stats, we know this stuff, but we're not changing this stuff. So it's time to have a different conversation about culture. Unfortunately, the conversation we tend to have is quite a surface-based conversation. It's very much about those smiling faces and the happiness and the motivation and the satisfaction, which is fine conversation to have. It's really an enjoyable conversation to have. And actually what it does is it actually bonds us in the workplace to have this conversation about our culture. But what it doesn't do is change the culture. So the kind of conversation that I want to encourage you to have with your people and also your clients is a very boring, unsexy, transactional conversation about culture and how to change it. Now, I know this surprises many people because culture is all about transformation. And that's what we call our business, isn't it? We're your transformation partners. Now, the thing is, to get to transformation, you actually have to do some work. That's transactional work. We need to get there. Because when I was young, I understood the difference between pretending to be happy in front of the customers when I was on checkout and actually being happy when I was working with the fruit and veg team. It's a very different feeling. So what is actually happening under the surface, beyond the smiles, beyond the happiness, beyond the disengagement, what's actually happening there? That's what we need to have a conversation about. So this is a gift for each of you. And in my book, I actually have developed a model to take this conversation to the next stage. Now, this is my metaphor for the model that's in my book. I define culture as the form, flow, and feel of the business. Now, we tend to have conversations about the feelings that our business create. So that's that first stage up here. It's that feeling. It's what's happening on the surface. Are we happy? Are we motivated? Are we engaged? Is our customer getting what they should be getting? These are the things that we talk about. Unfortunately, what ends up happening in most businesses is that's where the conversation finishes. We talk about what's happening, we don't tend to talk enough about why it's happening, and we don't dig deep into how to change it. That's where we have to have that boring conversation. Now, this feeling conversation is a real fun, sexy, enjoyable conversation to have, absolutely. I love a good neuroscience conversation, the same as any transformation specialist. But we need to go deeper. So the next stage of this is when we go under the surface, we see in businesses that the business of the business actually flows through the business. And how it flows through the business is through systems, practices, processes, procedures, all of these things that actually hold your culture and hold the feeling in place. Whether it's a great feeling or not, it's holding it in place. So we really need to go under the surface of where these feelings are, because some days we might feel that it's calm, smooth sailing in our business, and other times it's that white water, it's turbulent. All right? But what we don't do enough of is when it's turbulent is to figure out why. So you see in the flow, in this little metaphor, that there are rocks in the way of the flow of the business, which is actually causing the turbulence on top. When we're in the midst of that turbulence, we don't go there and move the rocks out the way, do we? No, because we're talking about the turbulence. Culture change actually happens in the smooth sailing. But because we're only having this emotional conversation about culture, and it's not a practical, functional conversation, we're not getting deep enough, and we're not going back and fixing those rocks. Sometimes to fix the rocks, we actually need to go deeper again. And that's in the formation of the business, the form elements. These are the foundation stones of your business. So these are things like your vision, your values, your structure, your strategies, the expectations that we're actually setting within the business. They form the foundation stones of your business. And if they're not strong, then the way the business works and flows is not going to be strong. And therefore, the feelings that we get on the surface are probably going to be turbulent. So we need to start digging deeper and having a deeper conversation about what's actually happening under the surface of businesses. Now, this is actually the work that SynergyIQ does. The work that we do is we help businesses understand what they're feeling, so we do some diagnostics, and why they're actually feeling that way. We help them discover what rocks they have and how to move those rocks out of the way in the best possible way to get a good feeling and flow through. This is our workflow model. Essentially what we do is we speak with businesses and we do a discovery We discover what's going on within the business. We then help them plan, we then help them execute, and we also go back and help them to evaluate whether it's actually working or not. We've got a great team of people, and I'm really proud to say that the business is growing and growing quickly. And this time last year, it was just me. And now we've got great people that are in businesses helping businesses transform and change. So this is what I want to leave you with. I want your help to start changing this conversation that we're having about culture in the workplace. I want you to listen to your colleagues, to your partners, to your contacts. Listen to what they're saying, and if they're having a lovely conversation about how their culture is going, but not going deep enough, then send them to us because we can help them go deeper. If they want to know why they're feeling the way they're feeling, then send them to us because we can help them figure out why they're feeling the way they are and help them to change it. My name is Michelle Holland. I'm from SynergyIQ, your transformation partners. Thank you.